we are going live very soon. Hello, hello, hello. I love to see you all there. I can see the chat is already busy, and thank you guys for tuning in and just say hi and hey, where are you from? I always love to see that. My God, we have someone from London, Jamie, and Scott from Manhattan Beach. Scott, how are you? My God, Scott, you're gonna love some of these updates. I tell you, they're definitely addressing some of your issues. And then we have someone from Bolivia, Costa Rica, Greece, Poland. Oh my God, I always love this. I don't know why. It just makes me feel so happy that that we are one big colorist community. Like working our way away in a dark room, and then every now and then we get to do something more interesting, and right now this is one of those more interesting moments when you guys can put a little bit your control panels aside, sit down and enjoy just to see kind of what we've been up to, and we are continuing to deliver our promise. We are really on a mission to make you job easier, to make you faster, to make you more creative, to kind of, focus your energy in the right direction. And you probably remember, when back in November when we launched officially Colourlab Ai and showed you how the color matching worked, and then in January, February, we showed you like the 1.1 update where we got this amazing, feature with the frames of interest. And now we have something else coming. We have something even, better. Like we were just going down the list and going like, what are the things that Colorist is doing that are so manual and boring that we want to automate and remove? Basically, that's the name of the game. Oh my God. Oh my God, Cyrus is here as well. And Susie. Hello, man. And Darren Hartman. Darren, our favorite factory driver. Very good. And Predrag. My God, Predrag from Rome. One of the best, authoring facilities I ever met. Thank you, Predrag, for joining in. So good to see you here. Fantastic. And Luca. I love my Italians. And someone from Lithuania. Oh my God, very good. Very good, guys. I love it. So, before I start, with really what we're doing, we're going to show you about 6 major new features. And we have done a tons of improvements. Like the list is about 120. There is a really lot going on, and we're not stopping. It's only going to get more interesting. And the reason why I think you should all kind of, consider and think what could happen, just kind of to get your imagination going, is this here. Not sure if you watched yesterday the Apple event, but what happened was that they have announced this little puppy, which is called iPad Pro 2021. And I believe, mark my words, now that this device is going to be cinematographers, filmmakers' most important tool. You are not going to be able to work without it, or you will. But you will be able to work much better with it. So let me put it that way. I mean, screen with more zones than Flanders' $25,000 monitor. 1600 nits peak, 1000 nits HDR, pure P3. Unbelievable, on a size of 12 inches. And not just that, you can run Colourlab AI on it today if you had one, because we have prepared ourselves for it. That M1 processor, which is inside, we have compiled for it. We run on M1. And basically, I cannot tell you how wonderful and interesting the future is going to be. If somebody had asked me, Dad, dream of the best and most interesting piece of hardware that you would like Colourlab AI to run on, I wouldn't have been able to come up with a better spec than this thing has got. The only thing is this, I would have never thought they're going to charge only, $1,000 or whatever it is. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me that we're going to get all of that just for that amount of money? So, that was really one of the most, happiest moments, that I had to experience, really. And our bet on Apple and why we really wanted to work on Apple platform first seems to be paying off now. And you know, guys, even if you're waiting for Windows, which we're going to do Windows version, you know, like certainly, like, you know, maybe this is the way for you how to get your hands onto Colourlab is to get an iPad Pro. As soon as we get it, you know, like I actually think, you know, we're going to have to seriously see how best to adapt it, not just kind of to say, hey, we run it. There is so much more interesting stuff we're going to be able to do with it. So, you know, I'm super, super excited about it, and hope you're too. Hope you're too. You're going to have like an amazing HDR monitor in your hands with Thunderbolt port. Amazing, you know, unbelievable. Not just a monitor, actually a processor as well that runs AI. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so I want to start with new announcements, with new stuff. And I'm going to start with our friends from Germany. Ari, you know, you know, guys, that, you know, we love Ari. You know that they're, you know, that it's just, you know, one of the, you know, they're for me one of the best companies in film. And you know, it was never, you know, a question of a doubt, you know, that we're going to be supporting Ari fully. You know, and there were challenges, you know, how to make it run on M1 processors, how to accelerate it, you know, and so on. It's not like a straightforward. You know, but actually, I think we've come a long way now, and I'm happy to announce that, you know, with 1.2 release, we are officially supporting all Ari RAW formats, including, you know, the codecs, you know, compressed format that they have created as well. So basically, you're going to be able to go and run any Ari RAW. But before I actually just talk about it, you know, I want to just quickly, you know, maybe show you exactly how that works. So I'm just going to go quickly and open a new project. And should I save this? Yes, I'll save this one. And I'm just going to go and import an Ari RAW file. So there we go. This is some, you know, I prepared some files here. And, you know, there we are. I'm just going to click on one of them and say, come on, let's go and come in. And you'll see, boom, it's just there. And I can press play, and basically in real time, I get like, you know, full Ari RAW uncompressed playback. Now, what is very interesting, you know, what you probably notice is, you know, remember in the past, you know, I would import, you know, some media, and the first thing that would happen, it would ask me, hey, can you tell me what is this media? But in this case, nothing happened, right? Yet, if I look at my shot settings, it tells me exactly what it is. And I'm going to go a little bit more into detail as to why this is happening. But in any case, so just so we announce, we're fully now supporting any Ari RAW workflows. It's a free upgrade to everybody who's using Colourlab AI. No need to pay any extras for it. It's just basically coming with a 1.2 update. That, by the way, is live. And if you want to download it, just hit on your application, update now, and you're going to be able to download this new version. Okay, so the next thing then that we got here is we also are supporting our next, you know, very, you know, interesting partner, or someone we also like a lot, and this is Canon. And, you know, Canon is really workhorse of many of you. A lot of our customers are using Canon, and you were happy to use Canon, like just, you know, using those RGB files, but you were saying, when can we start using RAW? When can we start working with Canon RAW? Okay, so for all of you, here is some great news. Canon RAW is now supported in version 1.2. So what I'm going to do now, just to demonstrate, I'm going to go and import another shot. And I think I prepared here like another one of, you know, RAW files. Let me see. Here we go. Canon RAW. I have two files actually. Let's see. Bang. On the same timeline, by the way. Boom. What's happening? There we go. This is Canon RAW. And interestingly, again, you don't have to tell it what it is. You don't have to tell it what gamma, gamut, and stuff you were using. It's just basically we're looking at the file, we analyze the file, and we do it all for you. So basically, any camera metadata that, you know, is available to us, we have worked really, really hard to understand what you have, how you shot it, and how to best, you know, present it, what IDT to set, what camera raw profiles to set. Like we take care of that, so you don't have to. And as you can see, camera raw is supported perfectly. Now, just to kind of reiterate, this is not the only raw files that we support. We've been supporting those before, but I just want to, for anybody who's, just getting introduced to Colourlab AI, I want to show you that actually we do support B-raw as well. And we are fully up to date with the generation 5. So basically, there we go. On the same timeline, I have a B-raw. And again, look, it just automatically says this is a Gen 5. And it's a raw file. So you basically, and gives you instantly your perfect Rec 709 looking image. You don't have to do any more than just import the file. This is one of those things, where we used to save, lose a lot of time, It was just such a kind of thing, and it's like, oh my God, I got this file. What's the setting? What did I shoot with? What's the settings here? What's the raw parameters? How it's going on? No, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of that. You can actually just go ahead and just import the files, and we're going to take care of it. And this is really what we're trying to do. This is our mantra. How can we automate and simplify things for you so you can actually just worry, how am I going to make it look beautiful? That's all you should worry about, not what settings you have. And it's very common that you have sequences with tons of different material. And it gets very complicated. I have this camera, that camera, what settings was used here, what settings would use that. And that was really the problem we were trying to tackle this time. This was really an issue that we were trying to solve. How are we going to accelerate you further by removing that very tedious task of basically setting all those IDTs, which kind of leads me perfectly into the next big announcement, which is completely rewritten from ground up. And I really have to thank to my COO and a partner in crime, Mark Peterson, for this. As you all know, Mark used to run, a very successful camera rental and post-production company in New York called Of Hollywood, and he has a vast experience with workflows. He just understands, and he was like there, he knew what RAW is and how to make most of the RAW. He was the one who was building the first workflows and digital workflows when there was no digital workflows. So who better to task with the job like, hey, how can we simplify the process of this kind of camera IDTs and automate it? Okay, so basically what Mark and the development team came up with is this new camera profile window, and I just want to a little bit introduce you to it before I start going through and explaining a little bit more into detail what they are. Here on the left you have your cameras that are currently in the project, and ideally you never want to see this window. Ideally, this window should be just sitting in the background. You set it only once, and this window basically does the job for you, okay? But what you can do actually here is you can get any camera that we support, and you can see we support anything from Apple iPhone, to unknown. We have a list, and I don't think actually this list is going to expand. It's just going to get longer and longer and longer, So, and what you do then is you say, well, if I ever bring any one of these cameras, right? What I want is I want this particular profile for this particular camera, right? So I say, for example, with Red, I have options to use IPP2, or I have a Red Lock film. We have also our new custom profile for Red. It is just absolutely wonderful that solves some of those out of gamut issues we had. Then basically, so then you have your cameras here. Now what you can do as well, you can straight away preview to what is happening with a particular, shot. So for example, look, I can, click on Red here, and I can say, well, maybe let me see what the limited profile would do. And I can see straight away what that profile would do without really, and that then becomes your standard setting for that particular type of camera. So you set it only once and you basically forget about it, I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about it, but also I want to tell you that another interesting feature we have is now we're allowing you to import custom IDTs. I'm going to have a call with factory drivers this Friday. We're sending an invitation later on today where we're going to go deeper. These are people who love color management, who are like leading this kind of new kind of direction in color management and more improved stuff. And we're going to introduce a little bit to what possibilities this opens to us. So basically, let me actually just kind of show you now what's interesting about so far. I trust you believe that we can recognize if something was shot exactly on that camera, and it really works like that. that it's working. But I want to actually now show you a little bit like now how you know, this tool works. I have just realized that I was actually on the wrong screen when I was showing this. So let me actually show you this camera profile window again. So I have to, so basically look, so this is what it looks like again. Sorry guys, I didn't realize that it didn't switch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you that, you know, this is I have now like a list view here where I can just see, you know, what cameras I have, or I have a thumbnail view as well that I can quickly preview all of the shots that I have listed, right? And then what I can do as well is, this is my default IDT. So you see, this is like a list of all the cameras where I can set what is exactly, you know, the file format that I want to use, or the profile that I want to use for that particular camera. But actually, let me just load a proper sequence that I want to show you, which kind of really, you know, this becomes more interesting. I'm just going to go and start a new project. No, I don't want to save this one. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually not going to use, you know, original camera raws. I'm going to use transcoded media, because we have to do this very often, right? We are not always working with original camera raw that holds all the metadata that we can say, oh, it was shot like this and that. No, very often we cannot get, you know, media that's been transcoded. So what I got here is a bunch of clips. Okay, you see, they're all kind of clips, you know, just transcoded with the same file name and the same time code, you know, and they're all ProRes files. And I'm just going to go select them all, and I'm going to click on open and check this out. Bang. Again, this window that we used to have, hey, what's your IDTs? It didn't pop out. And the reason why, you know, it didn't pop up, it's because we have, you know, set ourselves up in this, our camera profile window, and it kind of recognizes every file. It says, oh, I recognize this file is coming from this camera, and I'm going to use, based on your preference setting, exactly this profile. And as long as you go through it, and as long as there is absolutely no like unknowns, you can actually choose whether you want to, you know, have unknowns manually, you know, selected or not. You have an option here to do. You're basically able to completely go and import, you know, mix of shots. So let's see what I got here. So let me show you. So this is a Sony, right? Okay, then this shot here is also like Sony, right? So let's have a look here. No, this is something that comes from Ai camera. Okay, check it out. This one here is from Red. Okay, and it knows, you see in the camera profile, it has straight away adjusted it for you and gave me the right profile. This is the same shot, but actually shot on Ai, right? These shots are also on Red. This one is also on Red, and this one's also on Red. These are all basically different cameras, you know, that I just transcoded and I just put in, and the system is able to go and just look at the file and say, I think this is this camera and this is the profile that I'm going to give you. Okay? And that is wonderful. That is great. And I love situations when we actually work in such a way that, you know, we get things, but we all know that this is not always the case. And what is happening is that very often we work with material that has been somehow shot, transcoded, and edited. One of my clients in Germany is calling this workflow a sausage workflow. So let me show you what is exactly sausage workflow so that you get the idea to what it is, okay? So what it really is this, you know, a client is gonna send you an edited timeline, okay? And this edited timeline is gonna have basically, you know, it's gonna just render everything as a single ProRes 422 clip, right? And it's just gonna say, here you go, can you go and grade this? Okay, so you get this one long clip and you just recut it. I used, like, you know, the scene cut detect to basically go and recut this material. And then you can see it's like a, God knows, it's a variety of shots here, right? And I have to go now and I have to go and match everything, right? I mean, you all know what I'm talking about. You've been all in this situation, isn't it? They just drop you like a sequence and they're like, go match it. And you're like, oh my God, you know, what's this camera? Well, how will I know what's the camera? How will I do it? So we had to really find a way how to help you with that, because, you know, you lose so much time and you don't really get the best results unless you guess, you know, in the best possible way what's the camera. So let me show you what we did. I'm just going to go and start a new sequence again. I'm not going to save this one. Okay, and I'm just going to fetch from Resolve. Okay, so what happens now is that it basically brought this in, but because they are unknown, it brought the window up now and says, hey, you know what? There is absolutely no metadata. There is nothing I was able to figure out. It all looks the same to me. So what do you think is this? Okay, so what, I do, like, is like, I, for example, know, like, my clients, like, let's say, for example, this particular client, I know that they shoot a lot with red, they shoot a lot with a DJI, and also they're using a lot of, like, a stock footage, archive footage. So what I did is I built something which we call camera templates. Okay, so basically what you can do is you can build templates where you can just say, okay, for example, if I click here on plus, I can keep adding new cameras that potentially using. But before I started this presentation, I built myself a little template for this particular client that I call a web promo. And basically these are the cameras like that just come up there. Now I have to tell you one thing, the inspiration really for this function came from online forums. And let me just explain a little bit more. So you probably, guys, you all have filled an online form. So you say, okay, your name, your surname, your email, your address, and then you click on a country, right? And then it starts Andorra, Afghanistan, Albania. And I always thought like it must be absolutely amazing for the guys who live in Albania to fill out these forms, because all they have to do is they just click on the first item on the line, isn't it? But how many of customers are actually really in Albania, like really, why do I have to go and scroll down, in my case, all the way to, USA, and then when I click it, I think, okay, I got the right country, and it says, oh, United Arab Emirates. Oh, I got the wrong one, right? You know what I mean, the pain of long lists, and this is similar situation that we have with cameras. You start to select the camera profile, and there is this massive list of options. And you just go like, why do I have to go through all of them? So what we wanted to do is we just wanted to give you few options. You know what camera is going to be working on. It's not a surprise to you, like, that clients are going to be working probably with, in my case, with some archive footage, which is going to be 709, with the red footage, which is going to be actually, this particular footage was not Log3G10, it was all red log film, right? And they used the DJI camera, the little Osmo, so they were like shooting like little steady cams and moving shots a little bit, stuff like that, and some drone footage as well. Okay, so then if I know, like I narrow it down to just the cameras I need, and I don't need to see all this list of cameras that I support, that's fine, that can stay in the background. So I just want to see, cameras that are interesting to me. I want to be faster effectively. Okay, so what I do then is I say, okay, great. So this shot is something they shot high speed on red. So I just click it and drop it onto red. Okay, so I just do it like this. And now I have applied it. The moment I apply profile, I can also see a preview to what this particular IDT does to it. And it's looking actually pretty good. Now I see that these are all moving shots. You see, so this is like an exterior. This is looking like a drone footage. This is looking like a drone footage. This is looking like a moving footage, and basically I think this is also like probably something like moving like, but let me actually, these ones definitely. So I'm going to click those three and drag them to DJI. Okay, fantastic. So that worked. Let me see. This one is also, I think, DJI. Let's try. Yes, because she was outside, and this one could be red. Let's see if it's a red. Or if it's a DJI, I can tell. I can just quickly check it. Oh, it's DJI. It's better like that. Okay, these two shots are archived because I can see that they're already very contrasty. So I'm going to go and select these two, and I'm just going to go and apply an archive footage. So it's the Rec 709 to them, which is the what I have already at the moment, right? Let me see this one. I think, let me see, maybe they shot it with a DJI. No, they didn't. This is the Rec 709. This is also archive. And this one here, is this red or what is that? No, it is also DJI probably, right? No, it's not. It's 709. Perfect. So you see, I can basically quickly just figure out which one I want. When I see, let's imagine now you have a list of shots. You can shift click on all of them. You can actually view them by list, but I find them to be more intuitive to work like this. You can scale it up, quickly go through them and say, hey, I got my IDTs all set up perfectly. Okay, this is all in perfect shape. And I say done. And now I'm much quicker. You see, I've just loaded in one page very quickly, shift click, compared, boom, 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 applied, and I got things working. So what I want to do now is I want to just go and say, okay, I'm going to apply a little marker here because these are my intros and outros. I'm going to go here. Let me go and apply a little look to this. So maybe I'm going to go and say, all right, I don't know. I'm just going to apply something like this. Maybe I'm going to just warm it up a little bit. Let's see. And you know what? I think I'm in a pretty good shape. Let's see now. Perfect. Let's see. This was my Rec 709. This is my Sholat. And this is now a little bit, maybe a little bit more contrast as well, and a little warmer, just to kind of give it a little warmer feel, okay? And I say, okay, this is my reference. Go ahead and match the rest of the sequence, okay? And the system then starts. You know the score. It's going to basically analyze through all of these shots. Basically, it's going to go and check, you know, which ones they are, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, while it's doing that, I can go and have a little sip of water and check what's happening on the chat. That's it. Okay. I see Mark is involved. Very good, very good. Yes, there is more going on, like especially with iPhone, but we're going to have to tackle, guys, iPhone separately. You know, we need to actually, you know, like I'm going to have a completely separate conversation about iPhone. It's much bigger because of all this HDR and SDR. I really wasn't able to fit it all into this particular, you know, time, but, you know, we'll come to it. I will be doing more of educational stuff to show you how you can get most out of these, you know, profiles. Okay. Yes, we have introduced the Filmic Pro. I can see this is very interesting. Okay, I'm almost there. I think my system like a little bit slows down when I'm doing live streaming and grading and I have a DaVinci in the background. I think the GPU just says, I have enough to do, Dado. Thank you actually for throwing all of this at me. But who knows, maybe next time I'm doing the presentation, I'm going to be doing demos from an iPad Pro. That would be great, actually. So, okay, you did the job. So let's have a look and check it out. Actually, you know, it's doing actually pretty good job, you know, by, you know, balancing stuff, right? Let me see actually my reference frame to see where we are. Yeah, good, very good. Let's see this one. Fantastic. You know, it cooled it down a little bit, but maybe like actually I would probably leave it like this. And so on. So you see, like, you know, I quickly balanced all of my timeline. I can check then my frames. I can see what's my darkest frame looking, what's my brightest frame looking. Yeah, that's good. This one's good. This one's good. All fantastic. Okay, and I'm good to go. I just kind of gave it a quick polish, quick balance. I introduced the right IDTs. It just brought my media like a little bit to the ballpark. Actually, you know what? This shot here, let me see. Maybe I want to open a little bit. It did already like a pretty good job, you know, but I think I want to just open it a little bit more like this. Okay, fantastic. Great. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and say resolve push. Boom. I'm going to do that. Actually, don't save it. I'm just going to send it, you know, like this. I wanted to show you what's happening. It's doing its job. It's using my, you know, custom node tree. It's applying all of the things. And in a very short amount of time, we're going to go and switch over to Resolve. Excellent. Thank you very much, Colourlab. So I don't know how long it took me, you know, to do this, but, you know, probably, you know, not a very long time. And you see, I'm back on my timeline and I'm able to start working with my node tree ready, with my CDLs ready, with my Shoalats ready, right? Everything is basically been put in place. Things were a little bit pre-balanced, and now I can start actually doing, you know, my job properly. So this is really like, you know, the benefit of this particular tool is just, I think it's going to give you like, look, I just think we've removed another one of those like a really annoying kind of things that selecting IDTs. And think about it, if you have an hour sequence with all the mixed material, it's going to be so easy. You see, interviews, okay, click interviews, all interviews, you know, are this camera, all of this stuff, this camera, bam, 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 and you can totally go and do it. And by making your presets, you can then actually just save yourself time and be able to, you know, just use those cameras only. You don't have to go and, you know, like complicate with the whole long lists. Okay, now I'm coming to a next big announcement, and this one is to do with Final Cut Pro. And yes, we've been working in the background on Final Cut Pro. Before I do that, I want to close quickly my DaVinci. And what is really happening is that we are working on a similar integration for Final Cut Pro as we are going to have with DaVinci Resolve. So we want to really be integrated well with all editing systems. There is absolutely, no question for us. We want to be working with editors. Final Cut took a little bit, we had to go and take a little bit, a longer path to it, but you'll see and understand why. But what I got here now is I got Final Cut open. So let me go and show you how that looks like. Perfect. Let's make sure I'm on the right screen. So I got the same sequence basically that I was working before, but I just got it here now as a Final Cut Pro edit. And check this out. All you have to do is this. This is my sequence. I think they call it differently. I always kind of get confused with the terminology in Final Cut. And then I'm going to go and drag it, okay? And now I just come to my, Colourlab AI. I drop it on top of it. I'm not going to save this project. That's okay. And bang, boom. It just did exactly the same job for you. And basically, all it is just drag a sequence, drop it on Colourlab AI, and it's going to open in an instant. What is not happening at the moment is I can't send the metadata back in the same fashion like I can in DaVinci Resolve. That's not happening at the moment, but watch this space. What you would do now is you would basically go and say, all right, I want to now go and export my movies, right? And I'm going to go and render all shots. And I'm going to render them in ProRes 422 or 444, whatever you choose, in a native resolution with whatever color space you choose. You can also go back in HDR10 if you want to. And that then you have to relink, and there is a great relink and proxy tool, they call it inside Final Cut, that is absolutely amazing. And you just kind of relink to the files because they have a same name, same time code. There's absolutely no problems with that. And you have a graded timeline in your Final Cut Pro sequence in the shortest amount of time. And that is the workflow that we got here. It took a lot of effort, really, guys, to make it work as seamlessly. But this is just the beginning. You're going to see more of us doing this type of integration. Okay, this is just, as I said, we were so excited to show you where we're at with it, so that you can really see, how beautifully this is looking. But I think it's going to get even better than that. And yes, I do know. Premiere users, of course, we didn't forget you. We love Premiere, we love Adobe, and it's most of my clients, I think, are at the moment cutting their stuff on Premiere. It's just such a popular editing platform. So what we wanted to do for you is we wanted to create the same type of workflow, exactly the same that we had, with DaVinci, that instead of you having to go and import your sequence from, Premiere into DaVinci and link it, that you can go and work directly. So let me show you how we did that. So I'm just going to go now and say, it's not as elegant as Final Cut, but maybe that's going to change, right? I'm going to go and say, okay, I'm going to new project. Let me now save this one, file, and I'm going to say import from Final Cut Pro XML, because this is really what Premiere is using that kind of, Final Cut Pro 7 XML, which hasn't changed for years, but somehow that's what they're using. And then basically I'm going to say open, and that's the same sequence that I earlier just opened in Premiere. I'm basically just, importing now in a from a Premiere sequence. Now it did all the translation, it imported it, analyzed all the metadata. I'm now basically able to do the same thing that I did before. I can say, okay, open my camera templates, add my cameras to it same way like I did earlier when I was pushing it from DaVinci, and I have exactly the same workflow like in Final Cut Pro, where I basically go and say, okay, I'm going to render now my graded media as a ProRes files, and then relink. They also have a great media management tool that allows you to relink to the graded files, where you can then continue putting your sound, graphics, tweak it a little bit more, some filters, effects, whatever it needs to be done, and you're good to go. So basically, really good workflow for those kind of quick jobs. Sometimes, you want to just turn around things quickly. Clients just really desperate. Oh my God, I need to get it out now. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. But not just that, really, you want to save yourself time. I find that that interface for color grading in Premiere is just a little clunky, and then here you have, many more options. And talking about options, This really leads me to our next feature. And this is really like what, I'm super happy to announce. I know that ultimately, guys, the reason why we do this, why, our job exists, is to make beautiful looks, right? This is the, like we get lost in all these functionalities about, making these cameras, those, no. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is make things look beautiful, create beautiful looks. And, Colourlab AI is always going to be primarily a tool that is going to help you create beautiful looks. We want you to be creative. We want you to be able to create wonderful looks. This is really ultimately what we're trying to do. Now, certainly we might be accelerating these workflows, and when I'm showing this, it might appear to you, hey, this is just a tool that I can work faster. But no, this is not just that. Colourlab AI is a tool that's going to allow you to make beautiful looks. Really, that's what I'm trying to create here. Something that is going to be so effortless and so easy to come up with most wonderful things, which is the reason why in 1.1 you saw look designer being included in it. Okay? Now we're taking it a step further, and this is really the direction that we are moving in. Okay? So what we did now is we have introduced a look pack. So, many of you have always asked me, told me, hey, Dado, do you have like a looks that you are using? Or do you have some sort of profiles that you like or something like that? And I was like, you know what? Let me actually, go ahead and create, my first look pack. And actually, I had so much fun in, building these look packs that I'm seriously looking forward, to making some more, because this is just great, like I love it, right? So what we have is we have two look packs. One's called Digi and one's called Film. Basically, the Film is a process where let me just actually apply the right IDT to this camera, because I think this is a DJI camera. Perfect, yeah. So what I got here is like lots of analog kind of profiles, right? You see, they're all different. And when you see Marcy, you always say, oh, it's Kodak. So basically, these are all different stocks. Now, very quickly, these profiles, they blow out of proportion because you have so many of them, and you kind of can just randomly go and click on them and go like, oh my God, which one should I use? What should I do? So we're trying to make that process a little bit simpler, okay? So here is, we have a tagging system. So let's say what we're doing here. So, okay, so this, for example, is a promo, okay? So I'm going to say promo, okay? So I apply tag promo, and already now it limited it to only files that are better suited for promo, okay? What I also want to do is I want it to be warm. So I'm going to go and say warm, okay? So now it has filtered to files that are promo and that are warm. And also I think I want it to be high contrast. So I'm going to go and say high contrast, okay? So now based on my tags, Colourlab AI is giving me these options. So now it's much easier for me to go through them and decide, okay, which one do I want? I can basically go like that. And I say, okay, let's say this is the one that I like. I really think this is nice and warm, and I really think this is a very good starting point, right? Okay. However, maybe I don't want to just use something that is as simple as this. I want to maybe do a little bit more with it. Okay. So how can I do that? So I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to say edit with look designer. Okay. And I'm going to say it needs to be a duplicate, because these profiles, okay, are fixed. You won't be able to edit profile itself. But what you can do is you can make a copy of this profile. And now this profile becomes just a metadata that was used to create this profile. Okay, so what I can do now is I can say, well, by the way, this is a new feature that we put in a look designer, where you can blend between your look, okay, and your graded image. So you can say, oh, I want to I like this look, but maybe I don't want it as strong as that, right? So I can just blend between it. Maybe I want it to be a little bit warmer. Maybe that's what I'm looking for, so I can apply a little bit warmth. I don't know, maybe I want to get more of my print feel to it, so I'm going to go and get it a little bit look like this. So I have now everything, so look at it, all these profiles, all these look packs that you get with Look Designer think about just the starting points, just an inspiration that gets you quicker to, getting to start building exactly the look that you want. You can totally change it. You can say, oh, maybe I don't want agfa, I want this or that. So you have full flexibility to do with it whatever you want. It's like totally like for you to do. And then I can say, okay, I'm happy with this. This is going to be my promo 2 look, let's say. Save it, boom, the looks get saved and gets put into your, database. And now you're good to go. Basically, you're good to start matching everything according to it. This is your showlet. What I can do is I can right mouse click to it and I can export it as a cube. So I can load it in a camera, right? Or I could also go and export it together with a CDLM cube by clicking here and saying export LUT, which is basically going to include both my CDL and my showlet, and it's going to put it as a LUT. Or, I can just send it to DaVinci as a node tree. You know the drill. This is exactly, what I already explained what you can do with it. But think about it. This is just a great little time saver. It's about 50 of profiles that I created for you. They give you a lot of variety. They give you a lot of variety and options, to what you're going to be able to do with those looks. So I'm really, really actually, looking forward to hearing, guys, how you're gonna, like this and how this is gonna work. So this is when it comes to the look pack, and watch this space. I think we're going to be exploring this more. This is going to be a really interesting area. I actually can't wait to see how and what is going to happen. We have some great partnerships coming up, so as well. So watch this space. I really want Colourlab Ai to be your good workhorse for look creation, that you are basically able to very intuitively go and build looks and be able to manage them, save them, share them. This is really, like what we need. And now we're coming to subject of education. Really, this is our last, like a kind of big announcement or a big thing that I want to kind of, just make you aware of. We are 100% committed now to basically launch a very extensive training program for all our products, and while we were building them and doing them, it was all kind of fun and games, because hey, we're adding this feature. But now that the product is kind of finished, we have already all the functionality in. It has quite a lot in there. It's not just something you open and you figure out by yourself. You really need to learn and understand how to get most out of it. And it really, when it comes to automatic matching as well, automatic matching is not quite automatic. You still have to go click on the right thing and understand how to get the best results. So there is a really lot to it. So we're going to help you learn and train. And in process of doing that, we're going to help you learn how to get amazing looks, because really we don't want it just to be a technical training for software. We want to show you how you can make most beautiful looks, okay? And we have enrolled so far 3 people to help us with it. So number 1, we are going to be working with Blake Jones from Creative Tools in Germany. So he's going to be covering all the German market. Blake is like a senior educator that I've known from the days when I was doing ICA. I was training with ICA for years, and Blake was one of the colorists there, and he was like DaVinci demo artist when I was just thinking about buying a DaVinci. So we are super happy to have Blake on board, and he's going to be covering Germany through Creative Tools. We're going to be announcing more details about each partnerships and benefits you're going to get. In Russia, we have partnered with Vasily Kostarov. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. I promise I'm going to be better with the names. But you probably know Vasily if you're from Russian-speaking territory. I watched some of his videos. He's absolutely fantastic guy. He's such a I love the way he teaches. He's also like teaching the right stuff as well. So super happy to have Vasily on board. Vasily is going to be focusing primarily on look designer. And then also we have in Italy Filippo Cinotti. And Filippo is actually filmmaker. He's a cinematographer as well, which I think it's super important, because we really find that cinematographers totally dig Colourlab and look designer. For them, this is like, and I'm not surprised, because we made it for cinematographers and with cinematographers in mind. And Filippo is going to be doing Italian language, and he's also starting with his courses soon. More details, guys, we're going to announce, it's going to be an update and overhaul on our website, and you're going to be able to find things there. Also, we're launching like a higher education programs. That means that we're going to be sponsoring film schools and universities for these are like a full-time film students or media study students. So basically, we're going to be working on university per university basis. It's not a blanket. It doesn't mean, oh, I have a student ID and I get it. No, you have to be working with a university that's going to be teaching Look Designer and Colourlab AI. And the first school that has enrolled is Fairstein Graduate School of Cinema in Brooklyn. Actually, Juan Salvo is teaching, the next course, and Charles Haney is leading that. It's two amazing people, and I'm super, super happy. We're finalizing those deals with them. But in any case, all students who are, working on those universities will have access to Colourlab AI and Look Designer during their studies, and they will be covered in their curriculum as well. And then last but certainly not least, I'm starting from next Friday, April 30th at 10 a.m. So it's going to be Fridays at 10 a.m. I will be starting live Colourlab AI training classes. It's going to be completely free. You just sign up and join, and I will be teaching Colourlab AI basically from the zero to hero and trying to get you up and running. And I'm going to be doing this basically on every Friday, completely free training. In addition to that, we are building more educational content, and another thing as well. We have a manual. I know it sounds crazy, right? We had a product already by version 1.2. We didn't have a manual, but we didn't have it because the product was changing so quickly. Now we have it. We have it. And it was many sleepless nights, for Marcel and Mark. And there's going to be more sleepless nights, I believe, because the manual is constantly developing, right? It's constantly working. And it's just, amazing. Like, I actually love it. Now we feel like a real professional product. Oh, guys, all you have to do is just go into help and say open manual, and boom, it's there. So you have a full reference. There's going to be more training videos and so on. So really, we're taking education now much more serious. And the reason why we're doing it is because we are ready. We have a product that is kind of, has shaped itself. It won't change, drastically from this point onwards. We want to be improving it, but, the major functionality is there. And, we're going to be expanding this, training with other providers, hopefully, and so on. So I really want to make this fun for you. I want you to be able to get access to this technology, but also, learn how to use it in best possible way. Yay, excellent. Oh, Blake is with us as well. Very good to see you all. Excellent. Okay, guys. So I have one more last thing, what is really exciting is that I always like to present one of our factory drivers, and I have to tell you, if there is anything I love about my job, is I love seeing, amazing results being achieved with our products. And it just, that's the purpose of everything, right? If we wouldn't have seen you do great stuff, we wouldn't be doing this. And actually, the person I'd like to present you this time is called Robert Lees. And I really chose Robert for a few reasons. The number one reason is that, Robert is a cinematographer as well. And he's from Poland, and I like the Eastern European film schools. You probably have who worked with me, that I really have a sympathy for anybody who has trained in Eastern Europe, because there is very particular kind of type of training you get in Eastern European film schools and approach to cinematography. There is a little bit more art in it, I would say. I love the way how they think and how they work, and frankly, Polish film schools have given us one of the best cinematographers of all time. I just kind of most recently want to mention Wojtyła and Wojtema, who studied in Poland as well. So I really love what they do. But also, I want to use Robert Lees as an example, because what he showed me, how the final result looked like, was absolutely unbelievable. Like, it's one thing, for me to work here in LA with, Netflix productions that are $1 million budgets. And like I work a lot with, Latin America as well and helping them get into HDR. I supervise, many shows and help them really look their best. And Robert really has never been my kind of consulting client. He just completed training with us through color training. And, he got early access. He became one of the early adopters of Colourlab Ai and Look Designer. And he sent me, a show he just did, and the show is called The Price of Power. Now, if you guys would know what budgets and what schedule they were working on, it is absolutely something that, unions here would never allow. It would never happen, right? But when you see the end result, you will not know if you're not watching something like this, Chicago trial movie or something like that, some sort of top of the shelf Amazon or Netflix production or HBO, than watching a Polish TV for which, they produced a series. So it is just unbelievable to me to how this gap closed, how it doesn't matter anymore, whether you're working here in Hollywood or, in Poland or in Indonesia. I don't care where you are. You have access to the same tools, the same knowledge, same training, and you can actually get your production to that level. And this is really what I love, but actually I let Robert explain this for you guys. He's gonna tell you, like I have a short video from him that is gonna help you understand how they worked and how they achieved such an amazing results in such a short time. So thank you very much, everybody, and love that you all tuned in. And yeah, I'm seeing you soon. Like, as I said, Factory Drivers Calls is on Friday, and next Friday, 30th at 10 a.m., we're going to be doing our first live Colourlab Ai training. More details going to be published soon on our website. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, here is Robert Lis.
Nazywam się Robert Lis, jestem operatorem i miałem przyjemność robić zdjęcia do spektaklu telewizji polskiej Cena Władzy. Dla mnie jako operatora największym wyzwaniem było osiągnięcie spójności wizualnej, co było niesłychanie ciężkie z kilku powodów. Ponad 200 ujęć na timeline'ie, bardzo różnych, wiele różnych lokacji, wiele różnych wnętrz. Dużo ujęć mastershotowych, gdzie trzeba było zrobić maski, trzeba było wyrównać ekspozycję, no i 7 dni na całą kolor korekcję. No, to było ogromne wyzwanie. Nawet się nie spodziewałem, jak bardzo i jak szybko za pomocą look designera osiągnęliśmy look, który w zasadzie prawie w 100% scen, do których się przenosiliśmy na timeline'ie, wyglądał bardzo dobrze. Mieliśmy w jednym narzędziu dostęp do emulacji negatywu, do emulacji printu, mieliśmy narzędzie, za pomocą którego mogliśmy dokonywać zmian kolorystycznych w sposób subtraktywny. Genialne narzędzie. Dobrze, to może zacznę od początku. W zasadzie to jest pierwsza nasza scena, która jest bardzo charakterystyczna zresztą dla większości scen w tym spektaklu. Jak widać tutaj ruch kamery właściwie przez całą scenę, bardzo dużo punktów i ustawień, gdzie światło się zmienia. Próbowaliśmy oczywiście większość zrobić na planie, bardzo dużo zrobiliśmy, mieliśmy świetnych ludzi i świetną ekipę, no ale nie odbyło się od wyrównywania ekspozycji w kolor korekcji. Może najpierw drzewo, Knot Tree. No to jest to Knot Tree, które poznałem na zajęciach u Dada. Także tutaj otworzyłem sobie. Walter Wolpato się podzielił z nami swoją wiedzą na zajęciach u Dado. To jest jego Knot Tree, dosyć skomplikowane, przynajmniej tak wygląda. U mnie nieco prościej i jak widać większość okien, większość nodów jest nieużyta. No te, które odpowiadają za maski i tak dalej, winieta, no wiadomo, przy takim ruchu jest niemożliwe, żeby ją użyć. Tutaj primary, correction, base A, base B. Ja mam taki sposób na to, żeby zmieniać ekspozycję w czasie ujęcia na klatkach kluczowych. Dla początku ustawiam ekspozycję dla początku ujęcia i dla końca, a potem przy użyciu klucza miksuję to i zazwyczaj to mi daje wystarczające rezultaty, żeby na tym poprzestać. Jak widać tutaj ogromne drzewo, ale niewiele się tu dzieje. No poza może jakimiś uwagami reżysera, jak widać, które zostały wzięte pod uwagę. Najwięcej i najciekawiej działo się na timeline'ie, to znaczy głównie w tym miejscu, gdzie jest look designer. Na początku po prostu Color Space Transform, nic ciekawego, natomiast tutaj zadziało się właściwie wszystko. Możemy sobie tutaj prześledzić wszystkie czynności. Bardzo fajna rzecz, czyli Subtractive Color. Możemy sobie zobaczyć, jak to mogłoby wyglądać bez. Praktycznie w każdym suwaku można dokonać subtelnych zmian, subtelnej korekcji, dzięki czemu nasz obrazek nabiera charakteru. Robiliśmy to na Sony Venice, więc tutaj też załadowany profil tej kamery. Proces to jest jeszcze stary look designer, poprzednia wersja. Nowsza wersja jest już znacznie ciekawsza, jeszcze bardziej ciekawa niż ta. Tutaj wykorzystałem w kamerze print Kodak 5219 Vision 3 500T S-Curve kontrast, który bardzo fajnie zachowuje się w look designerze. Oprócz tego, jak wspomniałem, użyty został proces Bleach Bypass. No. I tak to wygląda bez look designera, tak z look designerem. To jest zrobione na timeline'ie, czyli w zasadzie do wszystkich scen po prostu został zrobiony look. Tu są drobne korekty, których nie zawsze widać przy każdej scenie. To były bardzo subtelne zmiany w obszarach scen, gdzie znacznie się różniły kolorem od poprzednich.